so fast. Like that's what I
Yeah,
understood
that's
from it.
not what I said. I said that
Okay, so if you
time is
think I mistracked, repeat what you said.
okay.
Like that's all I'm
I
asking you.
said time is practically irrelevant. There's a huge difference because they reference the instance of which the attack and the counterattack was met, not just the notion of it being tense, because the statement would not only be deployed before then, but it would be applied in the midst of the statement, which would even support my point, and also has nothing to do with the domain of time, right? Because the way specifically worded, it says that he was getting ready to counterattack and Indra was preparing the attacker. So the notion of how fast and strong it is already deployed, right? It's able to be extrapolated upon. Then it says perhaps it was moments or maybe even minutes, but in that space where time was compressed and lost all meaning, right? So compressed is directly referencing the notion that is not elongated, right? And credence for this is it says that instant of which he attacks, right? He's not as fast as the instant. They oh my god, specifically describe the notion of it being instant to the attack into the voice, right? So practically, yes, it's irrelevant. As in, for example, a normal time frame like seconds or minutes is irrelevant. But in regards to Indra, sure, but that does not mean the actual notion of time is relevant. It's not fucking zero speed. It's retarded.
Wait, but I don't understand your argument. Like, what does this have to do with anything?
Bro, you just oh my god.
I'm
So
genuinely confused. Like,
is the fact that the classical measurement of time that an attack would usually fall under is irrelevant given the statement, and the statement is directly in reference to the time frame in which Indra attacked.
are you trying to say that you can't measure speed here?
Oh my god. No, I'm not saying that. I just really don't understand how it's that hard to comprehend. The concept of time, right, it is referencing on a classical scale. As in, for example,
Classical scale.
yes, it's not referencing it hyperliterally. The tech is not infinite speed. I'm saying that
Yeah.
where the domain of time in which attacks fall under normally, right, aka the idea of time for their attacks or that instant, right, is measurable or at least relevant, right? And with that being the case, they do not prescribe that quality to Indra given how fast it is because they make this statement and directly reference the instant of which he attacks and the buildup of his speed. That's directly what they're referencing. The time frame of the instance that they're referencing is solely dictated by Indra. It's not referenced by anything else. And the notion of it being compressed supports that because compressed is indexed to the time frame objectively being shorter.
Okay, so is your art okay? Because like you're kind of very incoherent. It's like super difficult to understand. But I, I'm I'm gonna try like to infer what you're saying. Like I'm gonna try to simplify it.
No,
Are
it's
you literally saying that because time is so compressed due to inner speed, like I can't like measure it by conventional norms or quote unquote classical time or some weird shit like
no, you
that?
can measure it via classical time. It's just as in the way where most attacks fall under a domain of time, it does not fall under there because that is a
That's vague.
simple. That's not vague. I don't, bro. It just gets to a level of tracking at a certain point because like I can't keep repeating myself.
It gets to a level of coherency. Like you're not making
That's
sense.
just you who thinks it's incoherent. It's like I don't really
Is
sure.
Plutus? Are you listening, bro?
I don't care what Plutus thinks either. What?
Because bro, like I just really wish someone's listening because like you're genuinely not making any sense. You're making a lot of these vague statements like, oh, like the normal domain of time or the
Bro, none of
conventional
them are
domain of
vague.
time, this attack
Literally
doesn't
none of
fall
them are
into it
vague.
and shit like that.
But this guy, you literally, you openly, admittedly cannot track. I just don't understand how like.
You're just, dude. You're just. I promise you, you're just not coherent. Like I genuinely don't understand what you're saying. Like I've tried
Look,
like to listen.
it gets to a point like no, it's
And
not.
I told you like my problem with what you said. Like I explained to you like what you said and what's vague
But you
about it. Like
openly admitted you can't track. You can't explain a problem what I said if you don't even understand what I'm saying.
I already told you like why like you're unclear. Like that's what I told you. Like if I can
You
repeat
never
to you,
told me the reason why I'm
if I can repeat, dude, if I can repeat to you back like, what I told you and what you told me, and I'm explaining to you, like what's vague about it and like I want extrapolation of what you
You
mean.
never said what was vague. You just stated what.
I just told you. You said that one falls into the conventional domain, and injust attack doesn't fall into the
And
conventional
what was
domain.
I okay, and then what did I explain? I said that the conventional method of time is just referencing the time frame of which most attacks, if not every attack, as far as we understand, falls under, right? Just the regular notion of time. But we know it's referencing the time span of an attack or just the instance because they reference it being compressed and it being shorter. And then they reference it being the exact same instant which was governed by Indra. So the notion of yes, this thing took seconds or minutes, which most attacks fall under, by the way, right? that notion of measurement of time that includes their attacks is not applicable to Indra because time is objectively shorter than that, right? Because they say it's compressed in then that instant.
Yeah, I mean, I already addressed this. Like again, like I don't think time like being compressed here is literal. I already like explained to like my
What? How is
interpretations.
that not? I'm so confused. We're beginning the notion that's not literal. Like, in which way is
Yeah,
that mutually
I'm
inclusive to?
interpreting it's not literal. For one, because they like kind of like pan out to the audience, and I feel like when they say like, oh, like in that space where time was so compressed, like it lost all of its meaning. I just think it's referring to the intensity like of the
It
situation.
doesn't. That's not proving. That's not proving anything. You're just reasserting your standpoint. I'm asking you in
No,
which
like
way.
I mean, it's just like
Okay,
the,
but
the
and in which
depiction.
way is it
Oh my god,
compatible,
dude!
or which
Like
compresses the note? Because something can be
oh my,
figurative, but for it
oh
to
my
be
god.
figurative,
Okay,
it
yeah.
has to
The
reach a
reason, the
strength of
reason.
moment.
Oh my
Okay,
god.
so like
Okay.
a nigga was asking a question and giving an argument, and like apparently you could just talk
You,
over him.
I was, I was literally, I was literally about to explain to you why I think it, and then you just cut me off and
Okay,
just
but
say
you've
like
been,
your
but
little two
I've
piece.
been asked you as in why is it equally figurative as it is
Okay,
literal, or
yeah,
why is
and
there
I
a
was about
certain
to answer
overlap?
the question, and
But
my
you
justification
already
for
had
it
the
is like,
opportunity to. When I
oh my
asked you why, you
god,
just
like
reasserted your position.
I didn't
You,
reassert
you,
my
you
position. You
yes,
cut
you
me
did.
off.
Okay, so you're telling me you didn't say. Okay, you literally did. You telling me you didn't
You
say
cut me off
earlier.
before you
Okay,
cut me
even
off
if I
before I
did
gave
cut
the
you
argument.
off, you started repeating yourself because did you not already tell me
I didn't give
earlier?
my argument yet.
Okay, that doesn't matter. When I asked you for the argument and you proceed to repeat your position, regardless if I cut you off,
I
you
didn't
repeat.
repeat my position. Like I didn't
Okay,
give the
so you're
argument yet.
telling me you didn't. So you're telling me you didn't already say in the past during the discussion that you think the compressor is just in referencing to the instance of being really
I
tense.
just restated my position. I was about to
Okay,
explain
so
to you
you did
why.
position, but you restated your position. Nice. I told you
I
that even
said
if
my argument wasn't me restating my position. I just was
I never
about to
said
say
your
it for
argument
clarity.
was that. I said when I
So if
asked for it, you
why are you being
restated it.
so dishonest? If I said it for
I'm not being
clarity,
dishonest. I said that when I
oh
asked
my
you for
god,
it,
like
you
this
restated
is the
your
ghetto
position.
gen rhetoric, bro. Like just fucking just say shit, bro.
Okay, this
Like
guy's calling me
you're
retarded.
responding
This
for
is
the sake of responding, bro. Can I give my argument or are you gonna keep talking?
okay, bro. I've been asking to give the argument, and then so now
So
I'm making
can
a
you stop
point.
talking, please? And can I give my
No, I
argument or
told you
no?
no. I told you no. I'm not stopping because I asked you to give an argument. You repeated your position instead of giving the new argument, and so now I'm going to make my
Yo,
point. Right?
is he
So like,
trolling? Like,
okay, nobody's trolling. A nigga asked you for an argument, and you openly admitted
yeah,
it.
and I was about to give you the argument. You just
Okay,
didn't
but
want
you
to
shouldn't have
hear it.
repeated yourself in the first place. So now I'm getting ready to make a point. Right? So like, it's not that hard to do.
I was making my argument clear. That's all I was
Okay, well,
doing. Like,
your argument was already clear. You said it 3 times in the past.
no, it wasn't. I
Okay,
was
so
literally
to
just
you
about
it
to
wasn't
explain to you why I
clear.
think
Nice.
this is
To
the
you it
case.
wasn't clear. I've been understood that
Wow,
the argument was clear to
I
me.
restated my position. You cut me off mid position to try and
Okay,
argue
because
for a
I
question.
don't
Like
need you
nice
to
one, bro.
restate shit that I already
You're
know.
so good, bro. Tensei, you're an amazing debater, bro. Like you're
Okay,
an
but
amazing debater, bro.
you dead us repeated yourself, but I'm going to make the argument. Like when you're referencing the notion of
Yeah, but
compressed
what
things,
are you gonna argue? If I repeated
okay,
myself, what are
I'm
you gonna
giving you the
fucking argue? Are
argument
you
right
gonna shadow
now.
box?
Okay, I'm
Are
giving
you
you
gonna
the
shadow
argument
box,
right now.
Sensei?
I'm giving you the argument right now. The
Okay.
notion that something can be figurative in the first place has to be compatible is in which the term is denoted as. I don't.
I really don't care. The reason why I think so is because they're
Oh,
sweating in the panel.
okay, that doesn't mean anything. They can be sweating to the
It means the situation's intense, further supporting my position.
okay, but the intents can be a consequent from what I'm saying, so that doesn't mean anything.
How could it be a consequence from what you're saying? How
Because
does what you're saying
they're
correlate?
entering a domain that is not consistently reached. What are you talking about? Why are they
A
sweating?
domain that's not consistently reached, but it's sub like these chief gods. Why are the chief gods sweating too?
I just told you that I'm saying that via the notion of sweating is not credence levying for a point because via my argument they would also be sweating given the domain of which he is able to attack and the potency of his attack. Right. So
You're
sweating does
saying they're
not mean
scared of
anything.
something that's weaker than them. Like, what are we talking
Okay,
about?
that's what's in question. That's irrelevant, right? The
It's
notion
stated
of
verbatim.
sweating
Like,
does
I
not
already
mean
brought you the
anything.
statement before that. Like, what are we talking about?
The statement is not, oh my god, the statement is referencing strength, which we've never clarified to mean directly the potency of an overall character's capability or just raw physical
It's
strength.
stated directly to be sub Shiva in the main story, anyways. Why would Shiva be sweating? Like, it doesn't like you're not
Oh,
adding this shit up.
oh
Dude, like
my
you
god,
have to
in
be
the
trolling
main
me. Like,
story, they're not referencing this attack. It's not that hard to understand.
why
The
would
main
it not
story.
include this attack? Like, what?
Okay, bro, I don't think it's
Why
this hard
would
to
we like
understand.
exclude his
Okay,
strongest attack? Like, why are we trolling? Prove that.
because the narrative of Shiva being stronger than Indra in the first place, him beating all the Hindu gods, is not only clarified in Apocalypse that he wasn't even the one who actually beat him, but in what's it called in Ragnarok, the narrative of his attack being perfected and reaching the domain of the gods hasn't even been reference completed or even acknowledged yet. I guess their basis for even
One,
saying he
I
was
mean,
their basis for even
one,
saying that
these
he's
gods.
stronger. Okay, listen. The reason that they even say he's stronger or even give credence to it is a fight that was before. How are you going to apply credence to the idea that Shiva is stronger
Because
than
after
Indra
they
and
all
it's not
watched
even
this
referencing
fight,
Prime Indra?
with Indra, they still hail Shiva as the strongest. Like, they've seen this
Okay,
fight.
bro. What did I say, bro? Genuinely, what did I do?
You said that's referring to the earlier fights with Indra and stuff.
Okay,
For
that's
one,
not all that I said. That wasn't even an argument.
the person who beats Indra is a Shiva victim anyways, because he like they literally
Okay,
fight and
no,
Shiva
that's not
beats
all
him.
that I said. What was my argument? Because I gave one argument. Like I said things within that. But what
Yeah,
was my argument until
you were
my
trying
time
to say like
reference?
you were trying to justify why this wouldn't include this, and you
I
were trying
know
to say
that's
like,
my standpoint. I'm asking you the argument
oh
I
my
gave. What
god,
do you
like
say?
dude, like can this guy stop talking? Like
Bro, you just reasserted my position after I asked you for the argument. Do you understand
I
the
was about
problem?
to explain to you, bro, it's like literally answering in a full sentence, dude.
No, that's
Like you,
not what that is.
you need to like be slightly patient. Like holy fuck.
What was my argument?
Yeah, your argument again was that the reason why this wouldn't include this attack is for one, the statements about this are like for one, Shiva doesn't like you said, Shiva doesn't beat Indra. It was someone else, and it was the fact that it was during the time of his climb to India that these statements are being referred to. That's what you said verbatim.
Okay, bro, you just the tracking just does not make any sense. I
Maybe you're just
said,
not clear and you're
okay,
not
no,
coherent
I
and you're
am
muffled.
here. I'm saying this word for word. I'm saying that the any credence attributed towards Shiva being over, firstly, cannot referencing impossibility be in reference to Indra because the nigga isn't even in his prime when the feats I'm referencing he is performed. And two, the attack isn't even plausibly perfected to the point where they can even be referencing it in regards to other characters' knowledge that is directly referenced. Because you cannot give credence. Yes, Shiva is over Indra because of shit that happened during his climb to the Hindu pantheon, but that nigga wasn't even in his prime then. That wouldn't even correlate. It would make no sense as in how the reason that
That's literally
excuse.
what I said. But okay, like sure, like I
It's
was literally
not.
talking
You
about the
never
fact.
reference it being impossible, and you never reference the
Okay,
disconnect and
dude,
logic
they
or whatever.
literally I mean, yeah, my bad. I didn't say word for word. Sorry.
I never said
Literally,
you didn't say it word for word. You just didn't say it at all.
literally. Okay, if we agree that the Indra that fights Juke is the prime Indra, the stronger Indra, literally, they all saw that and they still hail Shiva as the strongest. Like this doesn't apply. Like the connection is
Okay,
still there.
bro. I just don't think we're tracking. Listen, I'm
Yeah,
saying
maybe
that
you're
their
not tracking.
notion
Like you're
of
confused.
Indra. That what was my reasoning as and why that notion of Indra, like Indra's actual strength, cannot be referenced. Like repeat it one more
You
time.
said it can be referenced because you're saying that this Shiva wasn't in his prime. Sorry, like the Indra was not in his prime when Shiva fought him, and you were also just trying to say like he hasn't perfected his technique either. Like
No.
that's
Oh my God. If
that's
I'm
literally what you said. What are
if
we
I'm
talking about?
evidence for Shiva being over Indra is shit that happened before his prime, that wouldn't be evidence in the first place. Which means that either one,
That's
they're not
literally what I
referencing.
fucking said. Like what?
No, it's not. You never said the criteria for evidence. This guy's an actual troll.
You were literally I was literally saying like why you don't think it's valid. Like that's
Okay,
literally the same thing. My bad. I didn't paraphrase in the way you
no, you
wanted it.
didn't.
Like
You
stop
okay,
trolling.
Shiva? Not bro. Did you tell me in any single manner of you quote unquote repeating my point of the criteria for evidence to
I
exist?
was literally trying to okay, so if I say that I can't scale Shiva using these statements because of the fact Indra isn't his prime, that's literally me saying that that's not evidence for it. Do you understand that
Okay,
or no?
okay, hold on.
Like this is obvious. This
There's
is
a
basic
difference
social
because
cues, dude.
no, it's not. Because firstly, nobody's going to
Oh my
take the
god.
fucking social cues of your argument. I'm taking what you're saying. Secondly, the criteria for evidence has to be established for credence. I can just say, right, oh, it's not referencing crime, so it doesn't make any sense. That isn't giving me more as much insight to my argument or credence as in if
I
I check.
literally addressed this.
Okay,
Like,
so
what's in question right now is whether he's in his prime or not. If we agree that the Indra that fights Juke is the strongest version of Indra we
that's
see,
the strongest, but that's not his prime. There's a difference.
when do we see this theoretical prime? Doesn't
Okay,
exist.
that's what one of the problems is that they can't be concretely saying Shiva's over Indra if the strongest version of Indra isn't even directly observable. One, number two, if the
If he fights again in Apocalypse, they will see that every version of
okay,
Indra
well,
like
they
that
didn't,
fought in Apocalypse has been seen. Like, what are we talking about?
but they didn't, and we don't even know if he actually is like going to even do that shit in the first place. Like I don't
It
even
doesn't matter.
understand.
Okay, so if the strongest version of Indra that's seen is sub Shiva,
Okay, but
then my
listen,
argument applies perfectly.
that
Like, what are we
doesn't.
talking
Okay,
about?
but you're not
It's
tracking.
still upskills
You're
him above
genuinely not.
Juke.
You're genuinely not
It's
tracking.
still upskills him above Juke, dude.
Okay, bro, you're genuinely not tracking.
Oh my
The
god,
entire
bro.
premise is the fact that if they're giving credence for X, it has to align with consistency for why X is over Y. Now, that's impossible to do if they're referencing the Hindu pantheon ascension because it has no correlation. Hence, the
I never
criteria
said
for
that. No, I
okay,
never used that.
I
Like
never
that.
said
Like
that you said.
I already like I
This
brought
is
that up
what I
like
mean.
three
This is
times. I
not
said that's
tracking.
not
I'm not saying you
offensive.
said. I'm not saying you said that you said that. This is my argument. Like holy shit. So. The entire point is if I give credence for like X is over Y, it has to align with the actual properties of X, right? And it has to align with the actual properties of Y. Y in this case being Indra. Now, if I say X is over Y and I specify a relative point in time for Y, but I'm not referencing Y overall, nor can you in that instance where you reference credence. Either one, you're not referencing the same Y, or two, you're fucking schizophrenic, right? So if I say
I am referencing the same Y. Like that's
okay,
the
yeah,
problem.
so then listen. So then, how in the world is it credence levying for Shiva to beat Indra inside the Hindu pantheon ascension to be referencing the one that fought in Apocalypse? That's
Because
impossible.
you're presupposing that the statements for Shiva are because of him beating Indra in the Hindu
I,
ascension, which isn't the
um,
case.
oh my god, I'm saying that they try to give credence as in why they think that, given the fact that he is
That's not
top.
true though. Like that is just
So you're
not true.
telling
Like
me that? So you're telling me one of the motivations for why Shiva is stronger than Indra wasn't the fact he beat every nigga's ass and was stronger than the dude who beat the rest of the niggas?
if you want to say like that's one of the reasons, like you can apply that. But, like that's not like that doesn't take away from the statements made by Heimdall and other characters. Like
Okay, that's not what I'm talking about.
in the verse,
Okay, okay, why do you think Heimdall is making the statement? Do you think Heimdall is because Heimdall isn't even the announcer during Apocalypse? So
it
genuinely, I
doesn't
don't even know if
matter.
Heimdall knows.
That doesn't really matter.
Well, okay, yes,
All of the gods have all the gods are like witnessing I think Heimdall's witnessing the apocalypse for one.
I don't think that's ever
Two,
stated or shown that he's witnessing Apocalypse.
I mean, I think it's an inductive case given the fact that he has a lot of knowledge on these gods, but
Okay, but the knowledge of these gods are contingent upon their mythology. Like it's not contingent upon like
not
him being.
necessarily. Like not necessarily. No,
Okay, hold on. So as soon as Hermes is referencing like the notion of his dancing, or like or him being a part of the Hindu.
they literally comment like on seeing them fight before and stuff.
Oh,
Like
okay, okay. Listen, the seeing them. Firstly, there's gods that
Shiva
make.
has seen Thor fight before. You are aware of that, right?
Oh, okay, that's irrelevant because I'm not referencing just one god. Firstly, if I'm
I
referencing
can give
one
you
god,
multiple examples of this. Like what?
if I'm going to be referencing one god, the only reason I would reference one is because we're directly talking about people, or two, if you're referencing an inductive case, it has to be where gods consistently display knowledge of a god's level of strength,
Yeah,
not
that just constantly
given their
happens.
mythology. But I don't understand, as in prior to them actually seeing them, that they're making a statement about that. Like, when does that ever happen?
Prior to seeing them, like they make a statement about them
Yeah, where it's consistent to give an inductive case.
for Heimdall. Like that's the person I'm making the case for. I hope you know
Oh,
that.
okay, I'm talking about in Heimdall or in general, because like you can suffice the case via in general applying it to Heimdall, or just supplying the idea that Heimdall consistently does it. But the entire problem I have is the fact that when we're talking about Shiva's reason for ascension to be on that level, right? If it is the case that they objectively reference him beating every nigga's ass or just beating Hindu gods as in why he's over Indra, that cannot be credence because it has no correlation to
It's
Indra.
stated. I hope you know it's stated by the narrator too. It's not like just some like fucking like
What about the
audience
narrator? What?
that he's like the pinnacle of his like respect, like his society.
Oh, okay, bro. And him
What are
being
we
the
talking?
pinnacle of his society. Firstly, I already think she was a better fighter, so I don't even think that the
That's
shit
just
with
like he
Indra has to
concedes
do
that
with anything.
that's just troll. Like
Okay, okay, what is troll? What is troll?
you like that the fact that you think Indra's better than fucking Shiva like at fighting. That's just fucking
I
retarded.
never said you're retarded. What did I just say like 5 seconds ago?
You said you think he's a better fighter. Like that's literally what you said.
Exactly. So how did you just say it's troll that I think Indra is a better fighter, but I just said Shiva's a better fighter? Make it make sense, Zizo.
You said Shiva. I thought you were talking about Indra, but okay.
No, you literally just repeated what I said and said that I said that Shiva is over Indra, but then you said it's nonsensical for me to say Indra is over Shiva in terms of fighting. No,
Okay.
I just think that Indra is faster than Shiva, and I think it being unavoidable and given the level of strength, it enters the threshold where it would one shot Shiva.
You can never prove like the
Okay,
speed gap.
that's just a question. But the entire point is the fact that I'm telling you that the credence that they're giving, as soon as they attempt to give credence for Shiva being number one based off of his fights, that's incompatible with the notion that they're referencing Indra in Apocalypse because it has no correlation, therefore cannot be credence. So they're not
But
referencing the.
if it's a narrator statement, it's an omniscient statement. Like the stuff would be included. But the problem is that for
That doesn't matter. The
it
narrative is
just
not
ties
a
back to the
reason for
initial
saying
scan
that.
we were talking about because the initial scan just says that his power is not lacking compared to these chief gods. And if it's the case that these gods are slower than Indra, Indra will be faster and have equal relative strength to them. He would
Okay,
beat
no,
their
but
asses.
listen. That okay, bro. He can be faster, and let's say he has relative strength. The notion that strength in that case, if it's cumulative, right, that is referencing. Okay, well, he can be physically weaker, but he's faster, so he's still comparable. Or right? His strength and his speed individually are on that level, or it's just referencing the overall potency of all of those aspects of
If
the
it's
attack combined.
dude, like then you're contradicting yourself because earlier you said that speed was like one of the fundamental components, but like wasn't like the main
How is
reason.
that
And,
a
like
contradiction?
I just told you how because you were trying to say that earlier it was like just a main it because I brought up how it was like a main composition, like a main part of like
And what was
his
my
arsenal. Like
argument as to why the composition didn't matter directly if we're not referencing it as the criteria for the statement?
because then you're trying to say like that individual like the qualities wouldn't like apply over and like that you couldn't scale Thor to it. But if you're now you're saying something different, like which is
Well,
that
no,
it doesn't
no, that
lack
wasn't my argument
the
for
strength of
why.
it doesn't
That
lack
wasn't my argument.
because it's not referring to speed, then
That wasn't my
you're just
argument, but that wasn't my argument. You
like
then
are you gonna bring up how I didn't paraphrase it perfectly like to try and just
No, this paraphrasing perfectly sounds retarded. If you paraphrase imperfectly, it just means you didn't understand.
no like
This guy's actually a troll.
uh,
But like, anyways, the entire point is I told you that there is no logical correlation between the potency of an attack and the deviation, not the the deviation and where it's derived from. And I give you the Zeus example, as in the motivation for the potency of the statement is not going to be one to one from the rudiment of the potency of the attack. So the entire point is that sure, no matter how many times you reference Indra, given those three possibilities, one, it's cumulative, right, which cannot be referencing each one of those properties individually. Two, it's each one of those properties are comparable as in speed, strength, and just potency in a fight, as in how practical it is. And if it is referencing that, right, then firstly, the notion if it's speed, I think would still be over shitty ass niggas like Thor in the first place, because given the fact that Shiva has more verifiable speed feats than Thor, or two, is referencing strength directly as in just straight physical strength, which is not directly in reference to speed one to one. So it's irrelevant no matter how you look at it.
okay. Are you finished?
No, I'm not.
So I mean, you love to cut me off, so I was just asking, but if that again, if it's just referring like I understand these three possibilities, like the whole oh like it could be a composite, it could be like a net, or it can be individual, but I'm saying that regardless of the cases, like if you look at it, let's say for example it's a composite of all three, and like it's saying that in the composite of all three, Indra is like as fast, as strong, like relative to Thor, then obviously like your analogy fucking dies because Thor is on that like threshold of speed. If it's the case that it's individual, where it's like, oh, like individual, like all these qualities together, like um are as fast, like he's as fast as Thor, and like he's as strong as Thor, and like he does not lack compared to them. It's still the same thing. Or like if it's like a net thing where like he isn't as strong as Thor, but like he can like comp compromise for that in speed. That's kind of what we have to talk about here. But like the way the statement is centered, it's not just talking about like pure speed. Like you said, it's like oh, it's like an unavoidable like it's like an insta kill. Like it'll like one shot you and stuff like that. And it's like he's building up like absolute power and stuff like that. Like the whole point about it is like it's building up absolute power. So it can't be the third option. So it has to be
Wait,
like
why
either
can't
one
it
of
be
the
the
top.
third option?
uh, because I said that if it's just a lack of power, but he compromises with its speed, then it wouldn't be consistent with what the narrative is saying because the whole point of it is that it's like generating a lot of power. Like that's kind of like the point of it.
Okay, but but strength that presupposes that strength is being denoted in a certain aspect, which we don't have proof for.
Okay, and that's why like I use your three possibilities.
Okay, but the
If
three possibilities are to display that they're all equal. They're not proving of. Do you know when I denote something? What does that mean, bro?
I'm telling you literally to pick your poison, like whatever option
Okay,
you
okay.
pick, like
Listen, when I
that's
denote
mine.
something, what does that mean? I'm saying we don't know, but I'm saying that given the notion of us not knowing, I'm attributing the previous narrative as if we want to use that as a dictator for the statement of strength. Sure, if we don't, then the statement of strength just cannot be used. Right? I don't
No,
really
it
care
can
about
be
the
used
statement.
because if we okay, even if we don't know which possibility it is, but we know it's one of those three possibilities that I'm arguing, regardless of the possibility, it's still going to derive my conclusion. Then I can definitely use the statement.
How does the possibility that it's just referencing potency as to how practically effective it is prove your point?
How what pathically effective it is?
Practically effective. How does
Okay,
it referencing its practical effectiveness prove your point?
because we just analyzed the source of its practical effectiveness.
Okay, but what was the source is irrelevant. I already gave the argument for that.
I mean, if it's practically effective because he just runs at you like really fucking fast and really hard, then like that's where like the effectiveness comes from. Like what? It
That
just
makes
stated like
that's completely unintelligible. The reason is
okay,
why it's X is
okay.
because
If
we
he
have
runs at okay,
a
if the
reason why
whole
this
point
is
of it
X.
is like it like just busts through you because it's so fast and so strong, that's where the practical effectiveness comes from. And if Hermes is saying that this strength doesn't lack compared to these other gods, then clearly either one, like you said, it's a composite where it's like all these three qualities combined compared to like Thor and Hades and Shiva, then the statement would still like apply because Thor and is on
But
the
that
same
has no
threshold as.
correlation to direct speed. That is just
Okay,
vaguely
hold on, let me finish. Let me
debatably
finish. Let me
referencing
finish.
speed.
Let me finish. If it's a singular thing, like for each individual variable, then Thor's speed would be in the same threshold as Indra. His strength would be in the same threshold as Indra. If it's the last thing where it's just like,
Okay,
oh,
that's irrelevant because you said under all of them
oh
your
my
argument
god.
follows. So we don't need to be talking about all of them. We need to be talking about the one that I disagree that entails
Okay,
it.
and the one that you disagree with is the last one, which is the whole like, oh, like it could be like he's much faster than him, but like Thor makes up with that, like with strength. Yes,
That's just repeating the first one. The point is practical effectiveness, and I was saying that practical effectiveness can be it is derived in this case for Indra,
strength
given the
strength analytically doesn't mean practical effectiveness. Like that's just not the case.
what they literally reference that for Lubu. We know he's not physically the strongest, but they reference how effective he is in combat as and why he is the strongest. We know he's not physically the
I
strongest.
think I mean I think he has the highest AP. Like he doesn't have to be the
He has
strongest.
the highest. That's literally stated to be below Zeus. That it makes no sense.
For like the humans,
Uh,
like
that, hold
the
on. You
statements
said
apply to the
you said
humans, right?
the highest AP. You didn't say among the humans. If
Okay,
you're just
sorry,
saying
like sorry.
among the
If
humans, he's
because
still
I'm
below.
talking about like okay, when you're talking about like he's not the strongest, you're referring to amongst the humans, yes?
Well, both actually. He's not stronger
Okay,
than Adam and
okay,
he's stronger than Zeus.
okay. I mean, I thought you were like bring up Raiden or some shit like that, but
Well, he's also not stronger than Raiden, but that's irrelevant.
yeah, like I mean, in terms of physical strength, sure, but like the guy's using a spear, like a big ass halberd, like
Okay, okay, yeah, but the strongest in that case, like is proving my point. If you're not referencing just general force exerted, and then now you're referencing the quality of the spear, that is referencing technique, that is referencing
but again,
practical.
that's like that's still a composition of strength because he's a really strong
Okay,
fighter.
but
Like
listen.
he has a really strong
Okay, sure,
spear.
but if it's not denoted as X, then that's irrelevant, right? Because
But
what is
the issue
denoted?
is that you're using practical effectiveness, but that's the consequence of his strength, not the actual strength. Like
Okay,
that's
but
not the same.
listen, if that's a consequence of his strength, then him being more effective than Raiden would not be true
It, how?
because he's stated to be weaker than Raiden, like
He's
5
stated to be
times.
like muscularly like weaker than
No, it's
Raiden,
stated
sure.
he's weaker than Raiden. It's stated Raiden is the strongest in human history.
Yeah, he's physically like the strongest because like he has the strongest muscles. That's fine. But if
What? That's
he's
not
using
what
his
the
bare,
statement is indexed to. It's just saying he's the strongest. Raiden is the strongest
yeah,
outside
but you can
muscles.
use contextual like
Okay, but
implications to like justify your
I
statement.
told you he's the strongest outside of his muscles. It's stated the strongest martial art is sumo.
The strongest? No, it says it's one of the best martial
No,
arts.
the actual translation says the strongest martial art.
What actual translation are you using? Like,
The raws
I
say
mean,
the strongest. What one of is not apparent in the kanji whatsoever. They just insert that too.
even if he's using the strongest martial art, I don't see how that applies to a weapon. Like, why would I
Okay,
care about
but
that?
listen, Cizo, your tracking is like actually demonic, bro. The
Okay,
entire
if
point
you
is that
if we
okay. Go ahead and talk, bro.
okay, so if you're okay, you literally said right now, like I don't know why you're saying I can't track. You're literally saying that sumo is the strongest martial art according to the Raws, and that he has statements of like outside of his muscles of being the strongest. Because of that, I'm saying those don't apply because you using a weapon isn't the same as like oh like it's a fighting sport like a martial art like in that sense.
That's so you just repeated yourself. Now, like the entire point is I'm telling you that you said that its effectiveness is derived from the actual strength of X. And I'm saying that if we're going to use that to be the case, then he would not have the highest AP and he would not have the most potent attack because not only does he not have the most potent swing that's never justified, two, which also is not relating to force, by the way, because potency is not necessarily in relation to force. And two, if we're referencing just straight force, being the reason as and why something is more effective, he would be objectively below niggas like Ryder and Zeus, which would
Wait, hold on.
contradict
So
your
what does the
idea.
sumo shit have to do with it? I'm confused.
Okay, because the notion of him being the strongest, him having the strongest muscles doesn't really correlate to just him being the strongest in regards to energy exertion. But we know that in terms of just in comparative energy exertion and just in general, he is the strongest in human history. So if
In
we're using
energy
the
exertion,
okay, so if we're using the criteria of
that's
a
fine.
character, a character's effectiveness is dictated via their strength. We know for a fact that Raiden would have more priors of being stronger, therefore his attack would be more effective. But it would be incompatible to say Lubu was more effective than Raiden because he's not stronger. In literally any aspect, he's not physically stronger.
Okay, he's not physically stronger because of that, and I don't disagree with that. But someone not being physically stronger doesn't mean hold on. someone being physically strong doesn't mean that he has higher AP than the other person. You are aware of that, right?
And I said that already.
Okay. Hold on. Like, give me 10 minutes. Like, not 5. Fuck, not 10 minutes. Give me 10 seconds. I'll be right back.
This tracking is really demonic. It's pretty bad. I mean, this thing is not going blow for blow. He cannot track for shit. He's so ass. It actually pisses me off. He's he said that Lubu's attack is more effective because he's physically the strongest. Like he exerts the most energy, and I'm like, that's just objectively not the case. Like he just is not stronger than Adam or Thor. Not I mean not that. Well, he's not stronger than Thor either. He's not stronger than. Yeah, because like Raiden is stated to
Um,
be. Well, not even just that. Like they say he's the strongest in human history, and I think the strongest in human history is equally influenced by the potency of his martial art. I don't even think it's just his human muscles because like they
that's
already attribute Sumo being the strongest, like outside of Raiden. And like so naturally it would follow that like sure like in terms of just raw physical energy exertion like his muscles wouldn't be directly correlative to that like in regards to being 1-to-1 but like the fact that he is just the strongest in human history and his martial arts is the pinnacle then like yeah I think that would attribute it being 1-to-1 especially if like sumo literally is just like it's literally just exerting shit like his
I'm not.
the
I'm
only
not.
attack that he uses is just straight up fucking palm strike like it's bad.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like, I mean, it's just a source of his physical strength. But again, like,
The what what
you don't think his sumo is a source of his physical strength? Like, what?
that would not make any sense whatsoever. It's a
How would it
martial art
not
being
make
a
any
source
sense?
of a martial art being a source of your physical strength, like referencing your body,
No,
like your.
no. His skill in sumo being a source of his physical strength.
Uh, you just repeated yourself. I'm sitting here confused as in how that correlates. Like, how does a martial art external
Okay,
to your body
because
make this
because
physical?
because certain martial arts revolve around being physically strong. And the whole point of like his sumo is he's
You
so
just
fucking.
reversed it. You just reversed. You just said that his strength is contingent on sumo, but now you're saying his sumo is contingent upon his
No,
strength.
no,
Which
like
one is it?
I just no, like I was saying that from the get go, but I just clarified it for you
Like,
because you didn't
no, you
understand.
didn't. You just like completely flipped it on its head and like
Dude,
smacked it in the
dude,
track.
I clarified it for you. Like, stop fucking trying to debate you and everything. Like,
I'm not. You
oh,
just you repeated the same thing 3 times, and then you just completely switched it when I actually pressed
I
it.
literally didn't. But okay, like I just clarified it. I just clarified it for you. Like, relax.
Okay, well,
I'm literally trying to tell you right now that sumo, like the whole point of it is like it's controlling the other person. Like you're using a lot of strength that rely on your physical strength and moving weight and stuff like that. And Raiden, who has the physically the strongest muscles, dominating that sport due to his physical strength, doesn't all of a sudden map onto Lubu, who's using a very powerful spear. Like
okay, I never said that. So I don't. I'm
okay,
just sitting here confused how that's
because
relevant.
I'm saying that I really don't care about his like quote unquote strength here because I can grant you 100% that Raiden is stronger than Lu Bu physically, but Lu Bu has higher AP. Like
Okay,
that's kind of the way I
okay.
understand it.
What is AP? What is AP?
AP is attack potency, like how much damage
Okay,
you can do.
but that's like in hella vague because like Beelzebub can do more damage than his strike. So I'm sitting here confused as to how this is relevant.
Chaos, hold on. Wait, you're saying Beelzebub can do that more damage than what?
Then Lubu's strike. I'm sitting here confused how this is relevant.
Because
Same thing with Thor.
we're talking about domain of humans. Like what you're trying to, because here's the thing. You're trying to justify to me right now that Lubu statements are talking about his quote unquote effectiveness and like that's distinct from his strength
Or
because
not?
of the fact that Raiden is stronger than him. And I'm explaining to you that no, in this case it would apply because
The,
Lubu
the
is more
reason
powerful than
I didn't bring up writing because of that reason. Like, you said that attack potency is derivative of physical strength, and I said, well, if we're going to use that criteria, then Raiden would be stronger.
I never said that.
Well, you did, but if you want to take it back,
I said effectiveness is a source of power, like strength. And like in this context, I'm not talking like pure muscular
you just
strength
like
like Raiden.
you just flip the hedge back on its ass. That makes no sense. But anyways, like if you don't want to say you said it, I don't really care. But like the entire point is that like if you're fighting AP, is just like how potent the attack is and referencing effectiveness. Like in which case, like is he the most effective? What how is that the most effective attack? Like under all the humans?
What is Lubu's?
Yes.
I mean, that's what you were trying to say, but I'm saying that like overall, like he would be the most effective. Like it's not like a singular attack. It's just like his overall like fighting prowess and stuff.
But how is his fighting prowess the most effective?
Because again, like I think he's like one of the fastest, like and one of the basically the strongest, like in terms like AP. Like
He's one.
he can deliver the strongest blows. He can break your guard, and like he
I
can
don't
stop the
think that.
strongest from the
Where
verse.
are you getting that from? How is he over Adam?
I mean, I think Adams like doesn't apply to the statements because like nobody knew how strong he was. But other than
Well,
that,
they
like
literally
it
did.
definitely applies to Qin Huang. Like that's what I do think.
They
Like
literally do. Like they say, he's made in the image of God. Like he's supposed to be 1-to-1 with like Yahweh. I'm sitting here confused in how they do not know how strong he is. Like he's 1-to-1.
they literally all say it. Like Heimdall says like, oh, like that was like a surprise. Like Brunhild says like, oh, like if there's one thing we know, like we all underestimated this guy. It's pretty consistent. Like they all didn't know how strong Adam
But that
was.
doesn't that. But Adam's displaying of fighting is derived from divine replication, not his raw physical strength. I'm simply just referencing his raw physical strength. I'm not referencing divine replication.
I mean, he can be physically like weaker than like Lubu. Like I don't see a
I
problem
don't
with
think
that.
he is. That's the problem. I don't think he
Okay,
is.
how do you justify him being stronger than Lubu physically?
I'm asking you because initially you were positing that Alubu is more effective than Adam. You're saying, well, he's excluded from that.
You're trying to general okay, because I was under the impression we're talking about divine replication, but if it's
Okay,
not
well,
that,
we're not. But I'm saying, how is Lubu over non-divine replication
I
Adam?
mean, if that's the case, I would just apply the earlier statements. Like, of him being the most powerful she's met on the battlefield, the strongest in China, humanity's greatest chance against the gods, like all of these like statements that Lubu
Okay,
had.
but I'm sitting here confused because it's verbatim stated that what's his name? That Adam and Nostradamus are the ace and the joker of
But
humanity.
that was after
Oh,
like a big fight.
okay, hold up. Like I was saying though, the notion that either one it's pre-prepared because they
That's
do.
post divine replication. So why would I care about it?
Okay, but listen, the same thing applies to Nostradamus, but the notion of it being the only person that can fight Thor in the first place, I'm saying that that notion is in reference to all of them in totality, which I do not think it's directly referencing nobody else could fight him, because they say the exact same thing about Kin. Right? I think they just throw the statement around the character being an ace or nobody able to do it, just via a matchup thing. Right? But with that being the case, even then, with all the other statements, none of that attributes to fucking Adam. Adam doesn't fight on the battlefield. He's not a part of China. Like, this is retarded.
I mean, I brought up like a lot more statements than that, but
You brought up one more statement, and you said that nobody else would be able to contend Thor, which I
no,
said that.
I'm saying no. Like Heimdall
Okay,
says, what other human has even like half a chance to compete against Thor?
that's this guy's a troll. I literally just said that they said that who else can go up against Thor besides Lubu, and I said that they make the same statements in regards to debatably even weaker, likely even weaker characters. That characters are even stronger than them, or a matchup
Because
dependent.
I
For
mean,
example, Kin.
because here's the thing, you're like forcing me into a topic that doesn't matter. Like if I prove to you Adam's strong, and it doesn't matter. If I prove to you that Adam is weaker, it doesn't matter. Because like all I need to do is get Lu Bu above Qinshi Huang, and then like I get my scaling through. That's all I need to do.
How does that? I'm saying, okay, listen. Your criteria for it, if the statement is not universally true, then the statement cannot be used to be true, right? So the entire point is that if he's not stronger than Adam, then you can't use that statement to be overkin because the statement's already falsifiable.
But the statement, but like you'd have to make some form of contradiction for it. But if the statement, because you're trying to falsify the statement, the lack of evidence for him not being above or below Adam doesn't matter because the statements I'm using, even the ones
Well,
that
that's
quote
because
unquote
the
don't apply
statement
to
cannot
Adam,
be
apply to
proven.
Qinshi Huang. Qinshi Huang is of China and he's been on the battlefield. Like
Okay, but listen, the entire point is I'm telling you that the notion of credence, because you said Lubu, well, you made indiscriminate statements of him being the strongest, right? And contextually, how you define strongest, I don't really care. But the entire point is that as soon as that statement is false in regards to one person, the statement is simply false. So I do not agree. The
the
entire
statement
point
of
is
him being the strongest in China, not applying to Adam, makes it like false. That's the problem.
this
I know
guy's
you're not saying
retarded.
it.
I never said that. I said that
I know you
you
didn't.
said
I
that
know you
he was
didn't
the
say that. I'm
strongest.
saying that's what like I'm talking about a different statement. You're shadow boxing on a different
I'm
statement.
not talking about a statement. You said your claim that he is the strongest. I'm saying as soon as you make that statement, that is falsifiable if he's not stronger than anybody. So the entire point is that like
That wasn't my claim. I never made that claim.
you literally said he's the strongest, but whatever.
I said
But
he's the strongest in China's history. Like the narrative of him being the strongest
you said
indexed to society.
you said that too. But then, like I was saying earlier, is that if we're referencing the notion of just strongest, right? If we're what are we defining strongest as to the point where there's credence given to that notion of denoting strongest that way? There is none.
What are you talking about? You're talking about something completely different. Like I'm confused.
What are you confused about?
I'm confused on what you're referring to when you say like that kind of stuff because it doesn't affect what I'm saying at all.
Yes, it does. If strength is not
Like,
denoted as a direct quality that's analyzable given either straight force or just given straight effectiveness, then I don't understand where we're classifying strongest as. Because listen, in terms of pure physical strength, Him being the strongest human in history.
I think strongest is like a comp like when someone says like, oh, like this guy's the strongest, depending on the context. Like I don't know. Like, let's say they say like Odin's the
I don't
strongest
care.
god, right?
Like just
Hold on,
Lubu,
like
just Lubu, just
okay,
Lubu.
hold on.
Like,
Yeah, I think that like assuming that like there's a statement that says Lube is the strongest, it would mean that like his composition of traits would put him above other characters. Like he would be able to hang like with any other fighters to the point where like, he just
okay,
overpowers them.
I don't even agree with that. I think he's losing to Adam in every conceivable way possible. It's bad.
That's
So,
fine. I mean, even if I grant you that, like that's fine because my statements that I'm using don't apply to Adam. They apply to Kinchi Huang. Like
well,
that's the point.
that's okay. Listen, I'm saying that for Lubu, when the way they denote strongest by saying he's the strongest human in history, it's not consistent for strongest to be referencing traits that are
That
allowing
statement
him.
isn't even made. I'm talking about the strongest in China's history. Like let's
Okay,
use that.
the state. I'm not using that. I'm using my own argument. I'm using my own statement, and I'm telling you that the statement of Lu Bu being the strongest human in the first place, like the strongest in human history, strongest in that case for Lu Bu, when they're specifically giving the qualification for his threshold of strength, is not referencing any physical attribute he's over. He's not the fastest. He's not the strongest, and he doesn't have the best abilities. So when they're referencing the strongest for Lu Bu, we very obviously know now, given the fact they make that statement, but it's not mutually inclusive with him being the fastest, the strongest or having the best techniques, then I think that Lubu being the strongest is independent of those factors. All right, so it can't be even a cumulative trait of those factors. It's just not referencing them entirely. I think it's just referencing just the perfection of his technique. I think that's all it is referencing.
Okay. Wait, hold on. What statement are you talking about? It says Lube is the strongest in history.
It's when Thor also has a statement where he's the strongest god. I'll
Oh,
tell you the
that
statement.
weird kanji shit that's like taken out.
Why do you keep saying the weird kanji shit? Like it's literally
I
translated
just
to
because
directly that.
I think again I think that's just referring to their like respective society, like just contextually.
So
Because
you
the point is like
granted
they're
that
both
he's in.
born ultimate. Like for example, like when it says like they're both ultimate, we can obviously infer that's referring to their respective societies. So it says like oh the mighty is God like, and the mighty is human. I think again that's just indexing
It
against like
says
their
it
respective
says
society.
humanity. How is humanity strongest only indexed to the three kingdoms? How that? What sense does that make? Humanity strong.
It says mighty is human, and I'm saying it's similar to the statement made earlier. Like I'm telling you
Boy,
that
that's not what
when
it says. These it says humanity strongest. That's what the statement says.
the kanji, I'm pretty sure like I've checked the kanji myself. It says the mightiest human thought the mightiest god thought the same thing as the mightiest human.
But that's
Correct.
not what it says. Check scans chat. It says this humanity strongest.
I mean, this just ends up as an interpretation battle. But the previous
That's not. I literally just told you how the strongest apart to Lubu cannot be in reference to tangible qualities of the body. For example,
wait? What box are you translating?
what I'm translating the entire thing. That's the entire thing.
Even the strongest god thought the same thing, Lord. No, it can't be. If humanity's strongest had been born at the same time, in the same place, no, even of the same race, the Valkyrie. I mean, again, like this is just like a translation battle because like what I translated just says something
Well,
different. But
show your
again,
translation then. Show the translation meaning mighty is not the strongest, and show it of it being of the three kingdoms.
it doesn't say three. It doesn't like index in
Okay,
three
so then
kingdoms.
just
I'm just
show it being the mightiest. Then just show it being the mightiest.
yeah. Hold on, let me find it. Give me a second.
Took a long ass nap after I got back from work.
Damn. Wait, what do you do for work again?
I
Supermarket? You said?
just worked at the gym.
Oh yeah, nice, nice. I remember you told me that. Fuck.
Wait, where do you work again?
I work at the gym.
The gym. Oh, like
Yeah.
you're a personal trainer.
No, like you have to get a license for this. I just do housekeeping.
Oh, okay.
Not being
Like
fair.
yeah, like okay. It says strongest, but it's like the same thing. It says like the strongest god thought the same thing as the strongest human. Like
Yeah,
not like
so
humanity
it's
strong,
yeah. Well,
but
I
yeah.
like
did
But
it
I mean,
in
the
it's
one
still the
strongest
same.
human and humanity strongest. It's the same domain, so it's irrelevant. But like,
No,
I'm,
because the reason I'm telling you
no.
like yeah, I'll explain to you why. Because
So you don't
contextually,
think them? Wait, hold on. So you don't think them saying humanity strong is the same thing as saying the strongest human?
I, I think again like yeah, the reason why again is because of the earlier statements. Yeah.
Uh, what? Okay. Do
Okay.
you
So
not understand what I'm
listen,
this?
listen.
This guy's retarded.
No, I understand. No, I will explain to you why that's different because one like applies it to like the category of humanity, and it's saying like that's the strongest versus here the strongest human. and we know like the statement of him like being China's strongest human would be a true statement. He would be considered strongest
No,
human. And I'm saying
China's
that
Shut up,
strongest
bitch.
human is
contextually, wait, let me finish.
no,
Contextually,
but
like the whole
China's
point of these
strongest
guys, like
human.
they're solitude, like they're alone because like they were
China's
born with the
strongest
strongest.
human
They
is not the same thing as saying the strongest human. There's a difference. You're just altering the statement. There's no correlation. Stop saying that bullshit. The,
what are you
the,
talking about? I just explained to you the distinction.
okay, bro, I don't give a fuck if you explain the distinction between the two terminologies. I said that the terminology has no correlation to what's actually stated.
No, I'm saying, brother, I'm telling you why I think like with my translation, my interpretation works, and I'm saying that contextually speaking, the whole point of like their narrative is like they're solitude, like they were alone because in society, like they were just the strongest, like they were alone because of that. And I'm saying that when it says like the mightiest God thought the same thing of like the mightiest human, like the strongest God thought the same thing of the strongest human, it's referring to their own respective societies because of the earlier statements. And
Okay, but
if you're arguing that it's
why
contradicted
is it
later on, like that just justifies my
why
position
is it
even more.
referencing the previous statements? I'm so confused. It has no correlation to the domain of that.
Dude, I just told you why.
No,
If you're arguing that,
you just said that given their position inside their society, it's referencing that quality when they're making the statement. And I'm saying, how are you driving that correlation? Yes, it's stated.
dude, I'm saying that if you're agreeing that those statements get contradicted later on, wouldn't it be more
I'm saying
reasonable to
it's not.
interpret in this
I never
manner?
said it was contradicted. I said if you were to interpret strength to be referencing tangible quantities such as speed and strength, then it would be contradicted. But I don't think
I
it's
mean,
referencing that.
I really okay. I mean, again, like I really don't care. If you interpret the statement uniquely in this manner, I really don't care about it because I'm not using the statement to get him above Qin
Okay,
Shi
but
Huang.
that's not the point. The point is the fact that Lu Bu being the strongest, I'm saying, has been built up to not be in reference to direct physical attributes.
I don't. I mean,
Because of this.
okay. I mean, sure. Like maybe index like to all of humanity. I really don't care. Like I'm talking about in the context of like China at least. One
Okay,
hundred
but
percent, yes.
I don't think you're tracking. The entire point of drawing Lu Bu back was you said that you think he is the strongest human. You said he's the strongest human. Right? Did you
No,
not say that?
you said that. You said I clarified it for you again. I'm referring to China. Like again, like I'm referring to
Okay,
Chinese history.
okay, bro. Okay, no, you weren't because when we were talking about it, you were referencing. I referenced Raiden, and you said you still think that his attack potency is over Raiden. Right. So
I
like I'm
do no, I do think Lubu's like overall like stronger than Raiden, but like that's like for a separate reason. But
okay.
regardless,
So then ultimately, because like I think now you're just hedging, but regardless, like you're not even getting correlative scaling of him being directly physically over niggas because like even then the
I don't
China.
care about them. Like they're faulty burdens. I'm talking about Qin Shi Huang. Like all I care about here is Qin Shi Huang. Can you agree upon that? Because like
Okay, but
if
that's
I get Lu,
irrelevant from the original
if I get
conversation. Do
Lu,
you not
hold on,
remember the original
no, it is
conversation?
relevant because if I get Lu Bu above Qin Shi Huang, then I just get Thor above Hades, and like you already agreed to the Desmos shit earlier.
Okay,
You just
do
said you
you
don't
not
think.
understand? Do you not understand? Nobody was talking about Hades. The reason why I referenced this was the notion that strength is not denoted as one particular thing, and I said that strength can equally be as denoted, if not as more consistently denoted, unless stated as a specific quality. The strongest is not
Oh
referencing a
my
direct
god,
physical
bro!
attribute.
I just explained this, bro. Like we just been through this point already. Like I already like we're going in circles here,
This
bro.
guy's retarded. This guy's actually retarded.
Bro, oh my god.
Yeah, don't call him retarded,
Disagreed
man.
with this guy. We never disagreed on fucking Thor versus Hades. I never gave a shit about Thor versus Hades. That was never the problem. The problem was talking about when we're referencing the strongest or just strength, right? Referencing the Indra statement. I brung this up for that reason because strength in this case is not a specific tangible quality to be referenced.
You okay, you literally said like, oh, I agree that Thor would be able to like destroy Hades' Desmos, but you don't think he's fast enough to hit him. And that's when I brought up the Lubu scaling for Qin Shi Huang. And that's when you disagreed with me.
Okay, listen, bro. The
Did you not do
entire
that, bro?
point is that even with the Kunshi Hon, because I don't care if Thor is able to beat Hades or not, because I said that if he launches an attack, he's hitting Hades. Hades is dying. I don't give a shit, right? The entire point is referencing Indra and Shiva, right? Because the original shit was Raiden versus niggas like Thor. And I said that the entire point, Raiden and Shiva, right? And then we got to Indra, and I said strength, right? Given the strongest statement of Lu Bu is not in direct reference to direct correlative properties and referencing physical attributes, right? They don't even say that with like 90% of niggas. Like they don't even say that shit with Thor, right? Because Thor's attack is unavoidable and it's able to melt niggas, and his potency comes from more than that. It's not just his raw physical strength, right? Like the notion of strength does not prove anything against my Endor point.
Brother, like I only like was talking about that earlier. Shit. Like I really don't care
So
about
you
the
must
other.
have just been not tracking for like an hour.
No, I was tracking just fine.
No,
Like
you
if you
weren't. You if Ghetto Jin
if
was
you
in
talk
here for
about
2 seconds, you can get Ghetto
if you're
Jin
talking
in
about
here.
the Inder shit and what strongest means here, yeah, like I do disagree with that. But again, like I don't know why you're bringing up like this like irrelevant. Like the issue is like you're bringing up like these new statements for, like Lubu and stuff and trying to make contradictions on them when they don't matter. Like that's kind of the thing
Okay, this
about it.
guy's retarded. Is actually retarded, like actually,
I'm
because like
retarded. I mean,
literally nobody and like their mom was talking about fucking Kin the entire time. Like all of a sudden, like now we're talking about Kin for whatever reason.
I
Because
literally I literally told you how the conversation stemmed from.
no, it didn't. We never. This bro.
Yo, you're
If
troll
you
like this guy's troll. Okay, I'll
if
give
you
you a
want
full
to
record.
get hold up, if you
Do you want
genuinely
to get like
actually just ask him hockey because he said he was paying attention for
okay
some fucking reason
you can
out.
get hockey, but like here's the
Okay,
recollection
hold
of
up,
it.
bro. Literally, just like as long as Tamaki can recollect that nobody was arguing this nigga Kin versus fucking Lubu, and we were talking about
Oh my
Indra.
god, bro. Okay, we were literally opening this up with the gyro shit. I was telling you I might debate gyro on Thor versus Hades, and then we started talking about it. I tried to give you my scaling for it, and I
No,
was just
bro, you just jumped forward in the future 40 minutes, nigga. You said you were debating Gyro, and we started talking about topics, and it was Ken versus Lubu, and I was like, yeah, I don't fucking know like who wins that shit, like it's whatever, right? First of all, Ken versus Lubu is completely separate from fucking Thor, right? But anyways, then top
Thor. We were not
exactly,
talking, bro. Like I'm telling you, like how like we got to the Shiva shit, which was through the Indra stuff.
bro.
Let me give you an example,
Yes,
dude.
that's yeah,
No,
that's
no,
precisely what it
no,
was.
no, it wasn't. I'll explain. Let me. Can I
Because you
give my?
brought up Apocalypse.
Yeah. I know. Can I please explain like how we got there? Because okay, so we were talking about gyro, like my gyro debate, right? And after that gyro debate, um, like we were talking about Thor versus Hades, and I was giving my scale, and I explained to him like how I think Desmos just evaporates Hades, and then he said verbatim like, oh, he doesn't know if like Thor would be able to land a hit on Hades, and that's when I brought up my Lu Bu above Qin Huang shit, and I was trying to explain to him that, oh, because of that, Lu Bu like gets like has the speed and so does Thor, and that's what we talked. Because remember we were talking about the divine weapon and stuff, and like how it's suppressed and stuff, and I was trying to apply that to Desmos and stuff, and after that we went to talk about like the matchups and stuff, and about how it's like possible for a character to be a blitz level above another character, like the other character, like still like be able to match them and stuff, like still be able to beat them. And he's trying to say like, and he's trying to extend it to Kinshi and say that, oh, it's possible for Kinshi to be like a blitz level above like Lubu, but Lubu still beats him. And he tried to like correlate
I
that
literally
to,
never said that. What? Because
yes
he
you
doesn't
did,
even
you did.
interact with characters that are blitz levels above niggas in the
Yes,
stand.
hold on. Yes, you did, because you're trying to hold on. You're trying to make that possibility and trying to use the example that Ra and
No,
Kukulane, like,
the entire point is if the character even enters the threshold of being blitz levels over gods in the first place.
hold on. So that's when we talked about the Ra versus Kukulane, because you were trying to argue that like Kukulane could not be seen by the audience, but Ra
Okay,
could be.
what did I just
And
say,
that's
bro? You're
hold on.
repeating.
Wait,
You're
let me
saying
finish.
shit that is I'm saying I didn't.
Let me finish.
I
And then
don't care to let you finish because I just told you that. Yeah, sure. I referenced Kukulin and Rob, but that was not in reference to Ken because Ken doesn't even backskill off of
no,
that. That doesn't just
I
ads.
get that. You're just all you were trying to demonstrate is how like my statement would improve like Lubu's on par with Kin and speed. That's all you were trying to show with it.
Oh, okay,
And
bro.
and
Nobody
then
was doing that.
yes, you
Literally,
weren't,
nobody did that. You just
because
didn't chat.
after and that's hold on. I was the one who brought up Indra, and I was trying to tell you that Juke was also able to witness this attack, and Juke is like below Indra because Indra like fucked him up,
Okay,
and
okay.
then
So then, Zizo,
that's when we talked about Indra, Shiva, and Thor.
Why was Shiva scaling referenced?
Shiva scaling was referenced because I was trying to backscale Indra to Shiva and sorry, Indra, and to like Shiva, Thor, and Raiden, because like the statement I brought up like about all of them like in conjunction being like comparable to Indra, and that's when we went
Okay,
to
no, my scaling for Shiva. Why was that referenced?
okay, your scaling for Shiva being referenced was that you were trying to argue that they were also able to perceive Indra, and like they were also able to perceive Cuculain, but like Thor can't. Like there's no evidence for something like that.
Okay, so then why was Thor directly referenced, but Lubu was not? If the conversation was Lubu versus Ken.
Because no, because I was trying to use Lubu to scale Thor above Hades.
Okay, but this guy's retarded. But the Thor that is being referenced has no correlative scaling to Lubu.
The Thor that's being referenced has no correlative scaling to Lubu.
No, Prime Thor one shots Lubu. What are we talking
We're
about?
talking about speed here.
Yes, Prime Thor one shots Lubu.
How the fuck does that deal with speed, bro?
Exactly, because remember
But
Ichi came
Tamaki,
in
was that not
VC.
how the
Remember
conversation
Ichi
started?
came in VC, and I said, yeah, that nigga Raiden and Shiva like beats on Thor, right? Like really bad, and he
Yeah,
was
I mean,
yeah, and he
yeah,
started tweaking. He was like, "What? You
yeah.
have Raiden and
I
Shiva
remember,
over
but
Thor?" And I asked, and I
that
asked this
stemmed
nigga
from the Indra
Ichi,
shit.
Zizo, shut the hell up. And I
That
referenced
stemmed from the
Ichi,
Indra
and I
shit. Oh
said,
my god.
yo, but like what? I asked like, okay, why do you have Thor over Shiva and Raiden? And then that's what the discussion has stemmed off. I just don't understand how genuinely I talk to a nigga for an hour. He wastes my time. I go on my way to do this shit, and a nigga doesn't track for an hour,
Bro,
60 minutes,
tell me,
60 times,
Tamaki, tell me that's not how the
60,
convo started, bro.
60 minutes, my nigga.
Tamaki,
Genuinely.
Tamaki, what I said about like, oh, like the Indra stuff, like the how the conversation started. Like, am I tweaking on that? Like, did I not say that at the beginning? Okay, so we started off our conversation by bringing up how I'm gonna debate Gyro, and okay, and the topic was Hades versus Thor, and I was he said yeah, he said Gyro would beat me, and we started talking about my argument for Thor versus Hades, and my argument was that since Thor has the strongest divine weapon, he would like disapparate Desmos because it's stronger, and like he was able to like get blocked by Lubu earlier, and then he one shot Lubu after, right? Okay, and then we started talking about that a little bit, and I was explaining to him how like the statements of him being the ultimate divine weapon would also refer to like the suppressed Thor, correct?
Yeah, and then I debunked you on that, like, because that
Okay.
was just stated.
Okay, and then after that, we started talking like how like regardless that was to like fuck up Desmos, it should be stronger than Desmos. He agreed to that, but then he said that he doesn't think like he doesn't know if Thor like how would I prove that Thor can land that a hit on Hades? And after that, like that's when I brought up the Lu Bu scaling because I was saying that Thor is relative to Lu Bu, who's stronger than Qin Shi Huang. So Thor should be either relative or above Hades in speed. Yes? Okay. And that's when he started explaining to me how like Lu Bu being the strongest in China doesn't prove that he's like faster than Qin Shi Huang. Because again, Qin Shi can be a blitz level above Lu Bu, but Lu Bu's like be more powerful, like more efficient than him. And he tried to use an analogy by saying that, oh, like there was like these emperors and stuff that are like, oh, like in terms of like tactics and in terms of stuff, like they're better. But like, yeah, exactly. And that he was trying to use that to justify that. And then he gave me the example of Ra and Cuckoo Lane, where like Cuckoo Lane was blitzing the audience, but Ra wasn't. And he was trying to say that because Shiva and like was able to perceive that, and like these other characters like Shiva and like all these other characters were not able to. And hmm?
Oh, because like, bro, he's just misinterpreting. Because the entire point is like he missed an entire section. Because I don't know if you remember me saying, but firstly, I said that this the reason why I have Ken over because you commented on this. I said because it stated nobody else in the roster can beat Hades, right? And I said that Okita is literally in the roster, right? Who I think is over Lubu. So I said that when it comes to yeah, exactly, which he completely missed out on. So then when we're talking about credence for why Ken is over Lubu, if we're talking about that. Reminder, I do not think Lubu scales to Thor in the slightest. So the topic Thor versus Hades, to me, is completely separate from Ken versus Lubu. Right? So when referencing Ken versus Lubu specifically, I do not think Lubu is conclusively over given the reasoning I just gave you. You agree that
Okay.
Okita was over. And then after that, what had stemmed was the notion of speed scaling. And I said that I genuinely don't know any Thor speed feats. That nigga's ass.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But before we
Yeah.
even got to the end of it, the entire point was the first thing was blitzing niggas in the stands, Sasaki and Poseidon and Cuckoo Land versus Raw, right? And I was like, sure, whatever. Like I don't have Thor being that fast. And then I referenced Shiva, right? Then I was like, yeah, I think Shiva and writing is beating his ass. That conversation referencing strongest statements directly had stemmed off of Shiva versus Thor, right? And Raiden versus Thor. That's what that topic is stemmed off of. The strongest statements just was literally never brought up in directly reference to Ken if it's beyond the strongest time of man statement. That was just never referenced. But the entire point is that the context of which defined the strongest, right? the only way that we even touched on that was because I said the Okita scale. That was literally it.
Okay.
Any other argument in regards to that context was derived from Shiva versus Thor, because then only it was brought up afterwards in reference to that topic.
Okay, so tell me how, like, from the gyro shit, we brought up Shiva, like, in Thor. Explain that to me.
This guy, I literally just told you. Oh my god! Because we were talking about speed scaling, right? And I was like, I do not have Lu Bu. Firstly, even be I don't know if he's as fast as Ken, and secondly, I don't know if Hades is slower or faster than that nigga Thor in the first place. But I said Thor's speed scaling is ass, and generally commented that Shiva is over him. Same thing with Raiden, right? Given their speed scaling and perception, right? And then we got onto defining the strongest. The strongest was never contextually defined via external statements until we started getting to Shiva and Raiden scaling. Because then you asked me, do you genuinely think Indra is over Shiva? Reminder: if Indra is over Shiva, that does not help anybody's point literally at all. Like it would make
Yeah, but I remember because here's the thing, we were talking about that because I brought up a statement about because basically what I was trying to do was like get Thor like the speed scaling because Thor is like in the statement. I brought the statement where like Hermes says that Gyro will not argue that shit, but I promise you Gyro's not that good. He's kind of buns, but and I've beaten him before, but we brought this up because I brought that manga panel where like Hermes says that Indra's power isn't lacking compared to Thor, Shiva, and Hades. That's when I was arguing that relativity and Tensei left.